Okay, so as I was saying, you all have been in a world of doing lines for the past few months, and you've been doing a splendid job of it. But now it's time to expand our territory and include curves because God's been so cool that He didn't make a line, a world of just straight lines. He included lots of curves. So let's start getting into that. But He made us inquisitive creatures. Y'all are so cute. Okay. Y'all, I'll be honest, we were going to do a lot of review, but today I'm going to have to skip it so I can get in the lesson now because, yeah, we've been having technical issues. Tell me how you really feel. Exploring quadratic functions. Everyone is so happy to be here today.
I just wanted to be more.
I know. I'm sorry. Okay. Let me start with this. I'm going to kind of change around a little bit. We'll see how this goes. Different colors make math better, right? Okay. Let's do. I'm trying to make a halfway pretty parabola for y'all. Just bear with me. Make it to where it looks reasonable, okay? Because I'm just going to draw on it. So you all know that a parabola looks like this. And I think you all remember, let's just do ax squared. Y'all remember, right, that when I gave you something like this, do you remember what shape that was when we graphed it? The absolute value signs with the variable in the middle?
That is
It went to
V, right?
V. Yeah, good job. When you graphed it, it went to the V. And just so a reminder here, when you got the x squared, it goes to this parabola. Okay, so just kind of a reminder. And this is not the exact equation that goes with it, but this is the idea. So know that. And you will get into this probably a lot more in Algebra 2. Actually, I know you do. There is a line, an imaginary line, that cuts through a parabola. And it's like it can fold over on itself. It cuts it in half. That is called the axis of symmetry. Okay, so we'll just say imaginary line that cuts parabola in half. I don't know exactly how much we're going to use that now, but they did mention it, so let's go ahead and get familiar with it. Axis of symmetry. And know that, oh, wait a minute. I'm gonna do one over here too. I'm doing just standard width, but again, y'all just make a halfway decent parabola and don't worry about it. Okay, so besides your axis of symmetry, which is cool to know about a parabola, you also need to know, and we'll probably talk about this more, that every parabola has a vertex. And that is either going to be the highest or the lowest point on your parabola. That's your vertex. So in this case, can you tell this is going to be your lowest point? It's your lowest y value. But for this one, it's going to be the highest point. So I'll let you get the definition down first. Okay, I think I'm going to let that sink in and attack it more in a minute. So know that your vertex for a parabola is either your lowest or your highest point on the parabola. Okay, so here's something else to know. You know how with lines we had, quick review, slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b? I got to scoot. This was slope-intercept. And then we had standard form, which was ax plus by equals c. Again, we knew they were going to be a line either way, but there were different forms of it. With parabolas, there's different forms of that too. So what we're going to look at today, and let me label this with lines. So just kind of a quick review. Standard form of a quadratic equation is this: y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And again, notice it's a little different than the line. There's no squared in the line. Those are all first degree, and your constant is to the right. But for the quadratic equation, you've got your x squared, your x, and your constant all on the right-hand side. Your y is by itself. So that's standard form of a quadratic equation. And the note on this is a cannot equal 0. Because if a equals 0, what does that do to your x squared? Yeah, it goes away. And then since that would be 0, you'd be back to linear. So this is fine so long as a is not 0. Okay, so seeing that, and y'all tell me to slow down if I need to. Some of your homework is going to be so easy because they will just say name A, B, and C. Okay, so you might get, we'll start off super simple here. Y equals 3x squared minus 2x plus 5. Okay, and notice to start off gently, I've got this one in exactly the same order. Okay, there's your 3x squared minus 2x plus 5. So can y'all see? Here's your A, here's your B, here's your C. Okay, so to make sure you got it, what's your A? 3. What's your B? -2. And your C is 5. That's all you do for those problems. We'll do a couple more and I'll jazz them up just a little, but those are going to be really simple. Okay, can I flip the page?
Wait, you just want us to write it as the answer 3 -2 5?
I think that's how the workbook does it. But if you see that, well, I'm good with that, so long as you get it in the right order. I'll try to save you some writing where I can. Okay, so now let's say I give you y equals -3x squared plus 2. Okay, now again, all you have to do is kind of think in your head y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Something's missing from this one. What is it?
It would just be A equals
Uh-huh.
-0 and C equals 2.
Okay, y'all agree with her? Yeah, that's all you're doing for those. And they may even rearrange things on you. I'm trying to think. 2x. Okay, I'm going to be a real stinker here. I don't know how complex they're going to get. So let's say you've got this and you know you need to get it in the form y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. What's the first thing you would move? You got it. -1, -1. And then, okay, let's just do it in steps because I don't want to overwhelm. Y equals 2x minus 4x squared minus 1. That's looking better. Everything's over to one side except the y. Now what would you move?
I would do -4x squared in front and then 2x plus 2x minus 1.
Okay. Very good. Let's move, like Julia said, let's move that -4x squared in front of the 2x. But let me ask you this. As I'm moving it, do I change signs this time? No, it's staying on that same side so you don't do the opposite. So just a reminder there, like Heidi was perfectly correct. When she moved the 1 over to the right side, it changed sides. So we had to change signs. But in this case, you're still on the same side. So you all nailed that. Keep your negative 4x squared, then your plus 2x minus 1. And now you're ready to tell me, like Travis, go ahead and would you tell me what A, B, and C are? Okay, very good. See y'all. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now, last one for this little section here. There's several sections, but I think they're all pretty easy. If you see a fraction or a decimal, don't wig out, okay? Just do what we've been doing. There's your A, there's your B. My C is understood to be 0. Good job. So in this case, Katie, what are my A, B, and C in that order?
-0.5 is A, B is 2, C is 0.
There you go. Okay, so you all should ace that part without a problem. Now, okay, now it gets more interesting. Let me give myself some more room. Okay, so then if I remember correctly, the next section is make a table of values. Oh, this is still all under example 1. I mean, you can even get your workbook out and you'll see exactly the order that I'm going to work through these. This is still under example 1. Make table of values and graph each quadratic function. Okay, so let's start off with y equals 1/2 x squared. Okay, so go ahead and I'm going to do x 1/2 x squared and then the coordinate, which is going to be xy. They throw some fractions at you, so I thought I'd at least be fair and do one with a fraction with you all so you're not intimidated. Okay, and again, y'all probably got graph paper, but I don't, so give me a sec. Okay. And again, this is the one we are making a table of values for and we're graphing. So what is the first x value that you would put in there? And I will mention, because things are squared, values can kind of get big quickly. So I would keep that absolute value low. 1, okay. 1. So we've got 1/2, and 2 is not too bad. We can squeeze that in if y'all want it in a minute. Oh, look, I was talking and I put that 2 right in there. X is 1. So y'all think order of operations, do we multiply first or do the exponent first? Yeah, exponent first, PEMDAS. So 1 squared is, and 1 times 1/2. There you go. So this is 1 comma 1/2. Yeah, 2 actually would have been better. Should have gone with Katie's idea, but we can add it in a minute. So 1 and 1/2 right here. Okay, we can graph 1.5. Okay, what else? That's not much to work with yet. 2. So 1/2, now x is 2. We're going to square it. So let's do that order of operation. 2 squared is, and 1/2 times 4 is? 2. Yay. So this one's actually 2, 2. 2, 2. That's pretty. Okay. I'll be honest, y'all. I always like to throw in a 0. Okay. So we're doing this Whitaker's recommendation, 0. So put 0 in for x, 1/2 times 0 squared. What's that going to be? 0. 0 squared is 0. 0 times 1/2 is 0. It's just all 0. So 0, 0. That's a lovely point. Okay. I know you all are avoiding it, but we have to go with a negative. Okay. -2. Well, I'll tell you in a minute what that's going to be. Let's go ahead and do -2. I want to balance this thing a little bit. So put -2 in for x. It's 1/2 -2 squared. Now be careful. This is where everybody starts to mess up. What is -2 squared? And 4 times 1/2? 2. Okay. So x is -2, but y turns out to be +2. So go to -2, 2, and that's pretty good. Now, I heard let's do 4. So I'm like, while this is our first one, I am fine being thorough. Um, well, okay, let me say this too. Can you all tell at this point that 0, 0 is our vertex? Because if you go up, we did 2, +2, and then we did -2, +2. And so we can at this point see that it's going to fold over directly on itself. So our axis of symmetry is happening right here on the y-axis. Okay, just, centered right at the origin. So this one's nice and pretty. So anyhow, let's keep going. 1/2 times 4 squared. Okay, what is 4 squared? And 16 times 1/2, 8. So x is 4, y is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Lovely. And since we know that this is our axis of symmetry, this is the cool thing about it once you get into graphing these more. See how this is 4 units away? You can go 4 the other way and make your other point. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, you don't have to give me this many. In your homework, if you will give me 3 solid points, which shows the vertex and one on each side, I'm happy. Okay. So I'm going to put on here, show at least 3 points, including the vertex and a point on each side. And again, I think right now they're in this form and they're all going to be centered at the origin. So that shouldn't be too hard right now. Okay, y'all good on that one? Now, we'll do this one quicker, but I do need to point out something. Let's go ahead and graph y equals -1/2 x squared. And you can make a prediction in your head. What do you think that's going to do to it? Any predictions? Oh, you think it's going to flip it? Okay, let's prove it. So x, -1/2 x squared, and xy. Again, we can truck through this now because y'all are warmed up. Okay, real quick, what do you want to start with for x?
0.
Yay, 0. Well, -1/2 times 0 squared gives us 0. So x is 0, that gives us y is 0. So there's your first one. Okay, give me another one. 2. Substitute that in for x. -1/2 times 2 squared. Again, just be careful. 2 squared is 4. 4 times -1/2 is going to be -2. And our x was +2. So there's your next point. 2, -2. And then let's go ahead. I think you all will say -2, right? So substitute that in. Again, I don't even know if you need to watch me for this part. -1/2 times -2 squared. Just be careful with all the negatives. -2 squared is 4. And then -1/2 times 4, -2. So x is -2. Y gave us -2. Graph that point. There. Beautiful. Okay, now, just to reiterate, and I should have already had this out, y'all get your graphing calculators out before we conclude. And you don't even have to. Okay, clear. I was messing around with this. Clear.
I'm still.
Okay, all I want you to do for right now is let's put in 3. And I think Harmony told me this earlier. I had missed it my whole life, or actually, I probably remembered back when I actually taught high school, but I'd forgotten since then. See this button right beside alpha? That's the quickest way to get your x. Okay, the button right beside where it has x, t, theta, and n. So just hit that. And then squared, now there's two options there. You probably know this. You can hit the raise 2 and put a 2 for squared, or you can just do the x squared button, boom, and that gives you 3x squared. So I don't know if that created a shortcut for anybody else, but those are the quickest way to get to x squared. Okay, if you find any shorter methods, let me know. But oh, hasn't Elon Musk basically said that's what they think they're moving towards? So it could be, and it's kind of scary.
You know what's like the, not just Five Guys, but like those, the fast food places with the new machines for all their drinks and stuff?
Yes.
Like you can like press it, it's like all electronic and stuff. Well, you know how you can control it with your phone or whatever? Like with it, you can scan the QR code, like online.
And then they put phones in your brain, you control it.
Right. Well, no. Well, no, sorry. But you can control it with your phone. And one of the kids there, he convinced his mom that it's voice activated.
Oh, that's so mean.
Recorded her saying like all the time. She got like the manager and everything. And he was like, I don't know what's wrong. And then he realized that we were recording it and he walked away. And he didn't tell
Okay.
her. Sorry.
I'm gonna be honest, that was mean.
I know. Like
Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna let real quick. Let me pause this. I'm gonna let remember it after this. Okay, so put it. I just erased mine. 3 x squared graph. Okay, so that one's going up pretty quickly. See how narrow that is? It's not quite as wide as this one. But now for comparison, once you've got your lovely parabola, go back to y equals. Arrow down. Hey, you do whatever color you want to. You can go down to, here, I'm gonna go down to blue. No, I want purple. I'm doing purple this time. Oh, yes. Great minds think alike. Okay, so now put in negative. Don't put minus. Put in negative 3. We can do this. You can change it. I don't care. X squared. But my point is, I want you all to see the difference here between the positive A, which is 3, and the negative A, negative 3, and graph that. Purple's so much more fun. Okay, so y'all, what can we conclude here? When we throw a negative on the A, what happens?
it goes upside down.
It goes upside down. So that's what I needed y'all to really see. So let's kind of write this out real quick. So some notes. If A, y'all listen, if A is positive, parabola opens up or upward, however you want to say it, but parabola opens up if it's positive. Okay. And if A is negative, y'all have already seen it and noticed it minutes ago, your parabola opens downward. I think that's pretty easy to remember. Okay. All right, it's going too fast. I'm gonna flip this over for a minute. I'll come back. I feel kind of goofy right from the get-go. I should have said that when you've got x squared, it makes a parabola. I think y'all remember that, but you might want to tack that on. When you got x squared as your highest degree, it makes a parabola. And then let's go back to this. Okay. When this opens up, y'all tell me this y value is what? 0. What is this y value? 2. What is this y value? I'm kind of pointing to it right here. 8. Okay. So when it opens up, your vertex is the lowest point, and essentially that means your y value is going to be, wait.
Yes.
Yeah, because see, y is 0 here. Y is 0. Here, y is 2. Here, y is 8. So when it opens up, your vertex is going to be the minimum. Your y value is going to be at its minimum, okay? Because your y values just keep going up from there. Y'all see that?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, let me compare it down to here. In this case, your vertex is going to be the minimum value for your function, okay? So we're going to write that in a second. Now over here, notice what is your y value? This is 0, 0. The y is 0 again. But here, the y value is what? -2. And if we kept going and we did 4 again, you would get y is -8. So when it's facing downward, the vertex is at its maximum. This will give you the maximum value for the function, so that will be the maximum y value because it's 0 and it just gets smaller from there. Okay, so let's summarize that over here. You're going to have questions related to that. If A is positive, the parabola opens upward, so the y value is at a minimum. And if the A is negative at the vertex, your y value is at a maximum. And you know what? I'm going to add at the vertex. The y value is at a minimum, and at the vertex, when A is negative and the parabola is opening downward, your y value is at a maximum, okay? So just as simple as this, if it's opening up,
Power.
oh yeah, vertex is, or the y value is at a minimum, but when it's doing this, the vertex or the y value is at max. Okay, that's where the maximum or minimum y values are going to be. Okay, just a reminder. Now, all you're going to do for this next section, where are we at? E, I guess we can say that was F. G. So they're going to ask for a section or two. Does it open upwards or down? And is the Y a maximum or a minimum? Okay, I know. Don't y'all yawn. This is exciting. How dare you yawn? I knew a math teacher, I think I've told you this before, that he had a roll of toilet paper, and when people start to fall asleep, he threw it at them. So that could definitely liven things up in class. Okay, why? I don't know if your parents would approve of that or not, though. So I probably better not. Oh, we've already done this. Let's make it -13x². Y is either going to be max or min. They want you to answer. Is the Y max or a min? Write it however it will make sense to you. So it's so simple, y'all. Look at your A value. Is it positive or negative? It's a -13. Highlight that. So is this going to open up or down? Yep, this is going to open downward. And therefore, is the Y value going to be a max or a min? You got it. It's going to be a max. So I think even you only have to put down and max, but I'm just trying to help y'all remember why we're saying it opens downward and the vertex is a max. Well, look and see. I think they ask you in your workbook to tell first if it opens upward or downward, and then if it's a max or a min. So you may need to give me 2 of these. So just see what they want. Y equals 4x². And if they throw anything extra on, don't let it intimidate you. Look at this. What is the A value? The A value is a +4. So you all know that means it opens up. And the Y value or the vertex is a minimum. So somehow, some way, convey that information to me and you'll be A-okay. Okay. Oh my goodness, y'all. Seriously, I read, if this is true, at the like National Spelling Bee, they were letting people spell women as
What?
if this article was not fake news, they were saying that they were taking alternate spellings on things like women because some women don't want to be associated with men, so they're letting them misspell. Isn't this a crazy world we're in? Okay, but anyhow, make of that what you want.
She was like doing this like I don't know, podcast thing, and it was like my neighbors keep calling animal control on my son because he identified as a cat, and I was like, she was like, and he doesn't even like go into the bathroom outside. He uses the bathroom, he uses the litter box inside, and I was like, dude, you are insane. I don't know, but it was funny.
5-year-old that she's expecting to identify as a cat, like that is not fair.
I will say this. It is crazy. It is. But I would also remember that those people are made in the image of God and they are very, very confused. They're confused. See, and that's normal. That's normal play.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah. And see, that's normal and that's fine. And just we could get into lots of discussion about this, but I've got to stick on algebra. No,
I got like animal control and so on.
it's sad. These poor people. Okay, y'all. Try to have a heart of compassion, but at the same time realize it's not normal and it's not godly. Y equals 4x squared. They're going to have a section where they ask you to use the graphing calculator. And y'all, I don't want this. Okay, no, that's not going to cut it. So this is what I'm asking you all to do. Yeah, and I give out warnings because I've seen this stuff before. So don't do it, please, or I will not give you credit for it. Go to y equals, y'all know how to graph this. You can clear everything out. And then go back up and put in your 4x squared and graph it. Okay. But I would like you, when you do this, I want to see 3 distinct points. Okay. And label so I know you actually did it. So once you see it, what you can do is first, let's hit, hold on, I'm going to show you. We're going to hit trace, and that's going to show us our vertex for these. So to see trace, it's right beside graph. Hit trace, and notice the blinking spot went right to the vertex. So in this case, and I think this will be the case for all of them today, it's 0, 0. So put 0, 0 on there and label it 0, 0. And I went underneath because A is positive. I know this is going to open upward, and we've also seen it. So now that you've got that, well, okay, also at this point, do second table. Again, I'm putting this in your notes to make your life a little bit easier. Or graph. I guess I should say graph. I'm sorry, graph. Because I'm trying to get to the table. Second graph. So second graph. And now see how it gives you this? It gives you a whole bunch of points. And right now it's going by the integers. But I'm going to arrow up. I'm going to arrow up till you see how we've got the 0, 0 on there already. There's negative 1, 4. There's 1, 4. Pick a couple of pretty ones off there. I know you can't see it because mine can't focus, but look at yours. Do you see a negative 1, 4 on yours? And then arrow down. There's that 1, 4. 1, 4. Okay, so once you get 3 distinct points and label them, then draw, this thing gets steep quickly. Then I know you actually did it and you're a little bit more familiar with your graphing calculator. Okay, so let's do one more example for that. We are almost to the end of all that you need. Let's do y equals 1/10 x squared. Would you like me to slow down? Then just say, please slow down, Mrs. Whitaker, and I will do it. I've tried to teach my kids, like, if they're in the van, to not just say, I'm hot or I'm cold. Because what is that? That's complaining. That's just complaining. So I'm asking them to be proactive in a gentle way and say, it's okay to say, like, Mom, I'm cold, but also say, Mom, I'm cold. Would you turn the heat on or would you turn the heat up? And then I'll do something about it. Okay. And that I like that a lot better than just hearing, I'm cold. Okay. Sorry.
Wrap the jacket really tightly around him, like, it is so cold in here. And so I tie her hoodie really tight like this.
Y'all know she's asking you to turn the heat up, isn't she? I'm like, don't even hint, just ask. And I think that's what most people want. Just tell us what you need in a nice way. Okay, so now let's go ahead on this one, practice it a little bit more. Go to y equals, and I'm going to do alpha y equals. And let's put in, yeah, it's 1/10. Put in 1 over 10, and I've still got that 4, so I'm going to delete it, DEL, delete. And now I've got my 1/10 x squared. Got it? 1/10 x squared. Get that in there. Let's do it.
No. Oh.
Please. It's 121. Hurry, y'all. Okay, so okay. Notice, because this is important for later. Okay, 4x squared, y'all, was pretty crazy steep and narrow, right? Those y values were shooting up fast. But now look at this fraction 1/10. This thing is like a bowl. It could hold water, lots of water. The other one could too. So again, observe so we can make some conclusions here in a minute. So same thing. This is just how I do it. You can hit trace. And again, there is your vertex 0, 0. And now remember, go to second graph, and that gives us some values. So again, I know a lot of these are going to be fractions, but just find one that looks good. I think, now you can go on up or down to -10, and you can get -10, 10 as one, but you don't have to. Like I might do -5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 over 2 is 2.5. See -5, 5 halves. Okay, that's the one I'm going to use. -5, and instead of 5 over 2, I'm going to put 2.5. Don't have to, but you can. And so I'm going to go down, just kind of go up and down that table till you find some values that you want to graph. And again, I'm going to do 2. No. I'm going to do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go up 2.5. Okay, so there's mine. You do not have to pick the same points I do, but try to make them halfway decent, please. There. There. Does that work? Oh, mine's ugly. I hope you did. Make yours prettier than I did. That's not near as pretty as the graph. Okay, so are y'all good on that section? Okay, good. Don't forget 3 solid points and label them so I know you actually did it and you're more comfortable with your graph. So yes, absolutely. Absolutely. My books are up on the 3rd floor. Okay, well, you know what? We're out of time anyway. So, I can't do that. We're running out of time. I don't want to send you away unprepared. Let's do this, crew. Okay, let's do this on the graphing calculator. See. Yeah, this is 7-1. Y equals 2x squared. Y equals 3x squared. Oh boy. Tell when I can get in a hurry. And then y equals, let's do a -5x squared. Okay. And then they want you to order from widest to, I'm botching up this one, narrowest. They used it in the book, so I'm assuming it's legal. And if not, blame it on the book. Not that I should know better. I'm taking no personal responsibility. Okay, so y equals, let's go ahead and do 2x squared graph. There's your first one.
Right.
And again, I'm just trying to show you because we were going to look in your book and I don't have my book, so it's kind of hard for me to show you. But if you want to look on page 320, example 2, it will kind of lay some others out. But here's y equals 2x squared. Now I'm going to put in 3 x squared. Okay, notice that. So we went from 2 to 3, and what happened with our graph? Did y'all notice that? Oh, okay, y'all ahead of me. So don't mind so much the negative as my hint there, but look at wide and narrow.
The 2x is the widest, right?
2x is the widest. Then what's the next widest?
Yes.
The 3x squared. And then what's the most narrow? Okay, so what can you conclude? Anybody?
It doesn't matter if it's negative or not.
So how can we eliminate positive and negative issues? What do you think, Travis? Good try. She got it. Okay, y'all were thinking. Good job, all of y'all. So what I want you to remember here is, here's the clue, the big clue for this. The larger the absolute value, okay? So you're basically going to ignore the positive and the negative, okay? The larger the absolute value of A, the narrower, the more narrow the parabola. Okay, the larger the absolute value of A, the narrower the parabola. And if you think about it, the bigger that number gets in terms of absolute value, it's going to make that thing shoot up quicker. So that's why it's going to be so narrow. So again, looking at this, let's get it in the right order. It's actually already in it. The 2x squared was the widest. Y equals 3x squared was in the middle, and y equals negative 5x squared was the most narrow. So that one didn't change. So looking at last one, y'all have been amazing. 3 halves x squared. Y equals 3 halves x squared. Y equals 2/3 x squared. And then y equals 1/2 x squared. I'm hearing people down the hall. I hope we didn't get their room. I'll figure that out in a minute. Okay. If all those fractions freak you out, again, we can look at it maybe in decimals. What is 3 halves as a decimal? Yeah, 1.5. 2/3 is a decimal. Does anybody know that? There you go. We'll just do 0.66. And 1/2 as a decimal. Again, 1 divided by 2, if you're kind of stressing out, 0.5. So remember, the larger the absolute value, the more narrow it is. And we're going from widest to widest, widest to narrowest. So we need the smallest absolute value first for the widest, which is our smallest absolute. Yeah, we're going from widest to most narrow. So 0.5, that's the y equals 1/2 x squared. That's going to be your widest. Now, which one's in the middle? Yeah, y equals 2/3 x squared, the one in the middle. And which one has the highest absolute value? You got it. That's going to be the most narrow. So I know those are a little bit harder to wrap your brain around, but I think with some practice, you can get them. So listen, we're out of room, we're out of time. It's been a little stressful today. So just for Monday and Tuesday, practice 7-1 in your workbook, example, just do numbers 1 through 39, okay? It's about 40 problems, but that we'll cover today and tomorrow. And actually, I think most of them will move pretty quickly. No. Yes. I know y'all. I struggle to figure out like what's enough homework to get you to remember the concepts. So if I ever seem like I'm trying to kill you, I'm really not. It's just with all this hard work, I don't want you to forget it for next year or the year after. Y'all can do it. Okay, there you go. See you on Zoom help tomorrow if you need it. Bye.